Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing really well and welcome back to my podcast, Life of an Artrepreneur. So the last few episodes I've been chatting to other people, I've been chatting to Conrad about social media and marketing and more of like the business side of things. And last week I spoke to Shannon Mullen, who is another pet portrait and wildlife artist who specialises in coloured pencils as well. And we were basically answering all of your questions. So we had a good conversation about loads of different topics. One of them was actually about websites, and I had quite a few questions about websites, and I've had quite a few questions off the back of the last episode with Shannon about websites. So I thought for this episode, you've got me just on my own again, and I'm going to talk about the benefits of having a website for your business and when you should start one, how much it costs to run one, just all stuff basically website related, and hopefully it'll give you a bit more of an insight and answer some of your questions. So I'm going to start with, how does a website benefit your business? So for me, I think my website is literally the center point. It's like the core part of everything. Without my website, I would feel a bit lost, to be honest. It's just that central place where you can, send people to your website if they're wanting to book in a portrait, or they're just after more information about a commission, how to commission something, your sizes and prices, anything you've got going on like upcoming workshops. If they just want to see more of your work, you might have an online portfolio on there that you can go and send them to. You might have a whole online shop which you can send them for original artwork or prints. They might just simply want to find out a little bit more about you before commissioning a pet portrait or before buying an original. And you might have a whole page on your website that's about how you started, why you enjoy doing what you enjoy doing, and other things that you might be up to that they might not know about. It's just like that center point where you can have bits of like everything that you're doing all in that one place. So it just makes it easier for people to find stuff out. I think having a website makes things a lot easier for us as the artist, because for example, all of my email inquiries come through on my website. I can manage all of my online orders. I can see all my analytics, and I think this is a really, really big thing actually. So for example, I've got an upcoming workshop next month, and I put a banner on my website, so if people are interested they can go and purchase a ticket. It's like one of the main first things you see now on my homepage. And I did a story all about it, I did a reel about it which I posted the other day. And as soon as I post that reel, I can literally go onto my website and see how many people are clicking on the button to my website. So see how many people are actually interested in seeing more information about the workshop. I can see in real time where someone is in the world who's clicking on that link to my website to find out more about the workshop. And I guess it's the same with like originals. If you post an original piece of artwork on your story with a button which links to your website, you can see how many people are clicking on it, which you can see on Instagram anyway, but through your website you can see that in real time where they're from in the world. And also if they end up clicking on an original and then maybe going to your shop and having a look, clicking on another original, you can literally see how long they've spent on your website and what pages they've been on and what they've literally clicked on. And I feel like you can use that to your advantage, because obviously if you released like 10 new prints, for example, you posted them all on your story with links to your website for that particular product, and you had like 50 people clicking on one product, then you'd know that that was probably your most popular. And then in the next few days you could post that again to give people a reminder, and it might just lead to more sales. Like, you can use it to your advantage that way. But in terms of your analytics on your website, it's not just that. Like, it gives you so much information: demographics, age group, location, how they found your website, whether it's through your link tree, whether it's through Instagram, TikTok, whether they've just searched for your website online. Like, there's honestly so much information. It can be quite in depth, and you can spend almost too much time kind of analysing absolutely everything. And I think unless you're releasing like a new product or doing something like that, there's not really any need to, because it can be a bit much. But it is quite interesting. Sometimes I'll just like have a look through and just see what's going on. It is quite interesting to look through. And I definitely think it's a crucial part in finding out more about your audience, which is something that you definitely need to do. Being a pet portrait and wildlife artist, you're constantly looking for those certain people who are interested in originals or prints or commissions or learning from you, like tutorials and that. So you kind of need an idea overall on your audience, and your analytics definitely help with that. But my website benefits my business in so many ways. That's just a couple of them. But the main one I'd probably say is just how it's just easier for people to find you. So if you find yourself getting more and more commissions if you're just starting out, and you're finding it difficult to kind of have the time to go through all of your messages and reply to every single person, basically the same message if they're inquiring about a pet portrait, for example, or they're wanting to book in or find out more information. If you have all that information already in one place with your sizes and prices, with like a contact me button at the bottom, you can literally just send them the link and say, everything's here on my website, have a look through, let me know if you've got any questions, or something along those lines. Just makes life a little bit easier for the artist and for the customer. I also feel like having a website and having social media and being seen online definitely makes you come across a lot more trustworthy as well for a potential customer who's thinking of buying a print or an original piece of artwork or commissioning a pet portrait. You just come across as more reliable and trustworthy because you're putting yourself out there and you've got that clear process of how you do things. You've got proof of like reviews and stuff like that. Having a website is definitely a huge benefit in any business, I think, but definitely a creative one. One of the other questions I got was whether or not it's a big cost to run a website. There's two main costs that you'll have. One is having a domain, so that's like beccabaronart.com or petportraitartist.com, like whatever you want it to be. You're paying for that domain, so you're paying for that like name of your website. And obviously it helps if it's the same as like all of your social media as well, because again, it's easier for people to find you. So beccabaronart.com is the same as @beccabaronart on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, so everything is exactly the same. Depending on how you do it, a domain usually costs between like £10 to £20 per year. The other main cost is to basically run your website and to keep it published for the year. That's the other bigger cost. But again, in my opinion, it's just so worth it. Like, it's a no-brainer. If you're wanting to expand your business and have everything in that one place, then a website is essential, really. How much it is to run and keep it published for the whole year depends really, because you can pay monthly or you can pay yearly. I pay yearly and it works out a little bit cheaper. It also depends on who your website is through. So for example, I've built mine through Wix, but there's loads of different website building platforms. I think if you've never made a website before, I would go with Wix. I first learned to build a website through Wix when I was at college doing graphic design, and I remember thinking, this is so complex because if you've never ever done anything like that before, with all the visuals and all the templates and knowing kind of what looks good, including all the buttons, making sure everything links to the right places, and just having that easy navigation throughout your whole website and having it all laid out like you want, is difficult to do if you've never ever built a website before and you're not very technical. I get really frustrated with technology. If I don't know how to do something and I can't find out how to do it in the first like 5-10 minutes, then I'll usually ring Conrad and be like, how do I do this? And because he's really technical and he knows loads of stuff, usually he's like, oh, you just do this, this and this. Or it's like one button that I've not been pressing and then it just works. He just knows exactly what to do. Or I'll watch like a YouTube video on how to do something with someone else explaining it to me. But to be honest, the best way that I kind of learn, and I think most people who are quite creative will probably learn best this way as well. When you're building a website, if you've got absolutely no idea, I'd watch a few YouTube videos first and then just have a play around with it, the different features, the different templates, put a few of your images in, see what looks good, like rearrange things. I think that's the best way really to kind of get a feel for what you like and what would work best sort of website wise with your business. So is it a big cost is quite difficult to answer because it depends on how you do it really and if you're at a point to do it. So firstly, depends if you make it yourself or pay someone else to do it for you. I know there's like loads of freelance website builders out there who can bring your like vision of a website to life or give you other ideas or just build the whole thing for you in a fraction of the time that it'd take you to do. But then obviously that's a cost. So you could make one yourself and it'd take a lot more time, but I guess you'd learn loads along the way and have it exactly how you'd envisioned it. So you can either pay for someone else's time or use your own time to build a website. My website is through Wix. I've always used Wix, even when I did that first ever website at college. I've always used Wix. I'm on the business plan, I'm pretty sure, which gives me all the features that I need, like the e-commerce, so I can run my online shop and accept payments. It's got loads of storage space for when I'm uploading photos of products or just updating my online portfolio with more like pictures of my updated work. And just images and videos in general throughout my whole website. I uploaded a video the other day actually on my teaching page, which is basically giving people an overview of my Patreon, my tutorials to keep, and my YouTube. So if people are interested in like learning how to draw, then those three things are their three options. But I thought instead of giving everyone a whole paragraph of information that they probably can't be bothered to read, I'll upload a video onto my website that's kind of me chatting through it and also show snippets of tutorials and stuff throughout. So to make it a bit more visual, I think it looks a lot better that way. On my plan on Wix, which is the business plan, which gives me everything that I need, I think it's around £300 a year, and that actually includes the cost of my domain. So depending on what website builder you go with, a lot of them will do that. So if you use a website builder and do it yourself, a lot of the plans that you pay for will have the custom domain as part of that. So it works out around £25 a month. There are some cheaper plans on Wix, but again, it just depends on what you're wanting to put on there. If you're just starting a website, then I'd recommend going with like the lowest plan, just so it keeps your costs really low whilst you're kind of developing your website and building your business a little bit more. And you can always upgrade or change it later on. It's not like set in stone. The lowest plan on Wix, I'm sure, is around like £8-9 a month. And obviously it's a lot cheaper if you do that and pay for the year. But yeah, have a look at all the different plans that they've got and see which one would be suited to you. So if you're just starting a website and you do end up paying for the year, although it seems like a big chunk and a big cost initially, think of it more as an investment and how it's going to benefit your business like so much. This lighting on my forehead is really annoying me and I don't know how to change it. I've put my blind down slightly, but it's just still not covering my forehead. So just ignore that little bit on top of my head, and also ignore my hair. It's absolutely wild today. I put some heatless curlers in it last night, and this morning it was honestly like out here. I've had to brush it out loads, but it's kind of gone a bit fluffy. So yeah, just ignore the tight curls. The next question that I was asked quite a lot was, when would you start a website? And I think I've kind of spoken about it a little bit already, but it really just depends on how far along you are within your business. Make sure you have a steady income already from commissions or prints or whatever it is, so that you can invest that money into expanding your business and running a website. I think a lot of people worry that they need a website or they're not going to get any commissions in, but I think the power of social media now, you don't need a website really to get going with commissions and start selling work, as long as you have like Instagram, for example, where you can showcase your work on there, an essential part initially. Make sure you've got that stable income before you even think about starting a website. And I suppose you can always build it and plan it out before you actually publish and pay for it, but definitely focus more on other aspects of your business and building that up before you start a website. Like I've just been talking about as well with the different plans that you can join on Wix. I've been having a look and there's 4 that you can join. The first is called the Light Plan, which is £9 a month, cheaper if you pay yearly, and you get the free domain for a year with that as well, so that's not an extra cost, which is good. The second one is the Core Plan, which is £16 a month or cheaper if you pay yearly. Again, that includes the free domain for a year, and you get extra like a lot extra storage, 50GB in comparison to 2GB. You can see all your analytics, you can accept payments, and you get basic e-commerce. The next one is the Business Plan, which is the one that I'm on. £25 a month or a lot cheaper if you pay yearly. Again, includes the free domain for a year. Basically includes everything that the Core Plan does, but more. Like it gives me more storage, gives me more in-depth analytics. I can do more with my e-commerce online shop. And then the top plan, which is Business Elite, is £119 a month, or cheaper if you buy it yearly. But to be honest, I think a lot of you that are listening to this won't be using the business elite for now anyway, but that's really advanced things if you're wanting to scale your business. The business plan that I'm on is if you're wanting to grow your brand or grow your business. The core plan, which is the one below, is if you're wanting to engage your audience, and then the cheapest plan, which is the light plan, is just to get all the basics of everything. So I think if you're just starting a website, that's probably the first one you'd go with, and kind of build your way up depending on what direction your business goes in, whether that's starting an online shop and going down e-commerce, or just sticking with the prints and the originals. Like, it really depends on what your creative business is as well. Probably my most asked question is, where would you start? So I would start by having a look at other people's websites, just doing a bit of research and getting a feel for the kind of layouts and colours and like visual aspects that you like, and using little bits of that to make your own kind of unique layout of a website. I think what I did was actually get a scrap piece of paper and literally draw out where different things are going to be kind of laid out on my website. So I had some idea of the visual before I actually got going with it. Think about your colours, make sure it matches your whole brand, make sure everything is going to be easy enough to read, make sure you've got the most important information on your homepage. So really think about what it is that people are going to be going to your website for, and whatever that is, that main thing needs to be like the main part of your homepage. So for example, on mine, I've got commission a pet portrait with a button. You click that button and it takes them to my whole commissions page, which is explaining the process of everything from my sizes and prices to the whole process of booking in and what they can expect throughout, packaging, shipping, and then there's a contact me button at the bottom of that page. So if they do want to book in a commission, they can just click on that and straight away they can email me, and it's as easy as that. You want everything to be user friendly, easy to navigate, and very clear. So have that in your mind before you even start anything. The good thing with Wix is that they've got so many different templates that you can use. So when you've sketched out how you want your main page to look, you can then scroll through all the templates that Wix has, literally drag it onto your page, insert the images of your work, so you're kind of switching them out with the Wix template images, and gradually you can kind of see it all coming together. I think you can literally start with just one page, to be honest. A little bit about you, a little bit about how to commission a pet portrait, what they can expect, and a contact form, a few pictures of your work. Like, you can keep it as basic as that. But if you think you're at the stage where you're wanting a website with a bit more information, to have as that like core place that people can find out all your information and everything that they need to know, I think you want to start with a homepage. You want to have somewhere on your website about commissions, whether that's on the homepage or a separate page about commissioning artwork and the whole process for that. I think a section about you as the artist, again, whether that's on the homepage or a separate page, I think that's always a good thing to have. Let people know more about you, how you started, and everything like that. And then probably the most important thing is a contact me page. So somewhere where they can send you an email or ask you anything really, like you directly. I think having all these as separate pages might make things look a bit neater rather than having all of that on one page, because it can be like, oh, there's so much information. But yeah, just keep it really, really basic. And I think sometimes basic is actually better, because there's nothing worse than going on a website and having loads of banners and things popping up about this, that and the other, because you end up getting frustrated because all them things are like distracting you from what you actually went on the website to find. It's too much sometimes, like subscribe to my mailing list and 10% off this, like constantly popping up. You don't really want that. Not that you'll be doing that if you first build a website, but just making the whole point of basic is better. I think the best idea is just to keep it really simple initially, and you can always expand and grow from that. And see your website as like a working document. Once you've built it, it's not like that's it. You know, the more that your business develops, the more you'll have to add things to your website, add more pages, give it a whole revamp every now and again, make it look a lot more professional. I'm constantly updating my website shop and rearranging things depending on what I'm doing. So yeah, don't just make it and then abandon it. You need to constantly be developing and adapting it as your business develops. Don't go making a website thinking that you need, you know, a homepage, commissions, about me page, contact me page, like I said, and also an online shop and an online portfolio and this, that and the other, because to do all that at once would be a lot of work. It's just all the little descriptions and making sure every little button works. I find that is what takes me quite a lot of time. Making sure all your images are really good quality, making sure everything's perfectly in line. And another thing actually to consider is how a lot of people now, when they view your website, will be looking at it on their phones. So although when you're building a website, you'll be making everything look really good on a desktop, you also want to, on Wix, you can kind of change it from desktop view to mobile view. So you need to kind of work on both of them at the same time. So it still looks really good when people are looking at it on their phones as well as on a desktop. But yeah, have a play around with everything, watch some YouTube videos and just have a go at it. You can always save your changes, pay for it later, and don't publish it until you're really happy that everything works. You can preview it before publishing as well, so you can go through it as if the website was live. Before you actually publish it and it goes live. But yeah, I think having a website is an essential part in running any business, but especially a creative one. Having that one place that represents you and what you're all about, where people can go and find out more, is a no-brainer really. And with a creative business, you can be so visual. Like, it doesn't have to be loads and loads of information and text. You could explain it all in a short video, like I said before, or through loads of images. But yeah, make your website unique to you. Make sure it's got all the information that you need. Keep it basic and user friendly. And yeah, so I hope this episode has answered some of your questions in regards to websites. We've got another big light coming across my forehead now. Brilliant. I'll just go over here. Any other questions that you might have, comment below and I'll answer them in there. Thank you so much for listening to this episode, or watching if you've been watching on YouTube. Give it a like and subscribe to my channel to see more art-related content, episodes, artist vlogs and tutorials. And if you've been listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, then I'd love it if you could leave a review. I hope you all have a lovely rest of the week. It's really sunny this week for some reason. Last week was just rubbish, and we've now got another really warm week, which is full sun every day. So up and down. But I'm not complaining. I am complaining about this light on my forehead, but it is what it is. But yeah, thank you so much for listening to this episode, and I'll be back next week with a brand new episode of Life of an Artrepreneur. So I hope you all enjoy the weather and have a lovely rest of the week.